Well, how's it going, eh? Today, we're going to take a look at this gem of Canadian audio engineering. So, why don't you crack open a can of Rush beer and stay a while? Hey, I'm Spenny, and this is an Ahead Taurus 2008 bass preamp. A few months ago, I went to a flea market, saw this, caught my attention, popped open my phone, Googled Taurus 2008, and could find nothing. That's a lie. You of course find a million results related to astrology and old Fords. Just looking at it, power, switch, fuse, inputs, knobs, output. It looks like a amp head. Price was something I was willing to take the risk on, so I brought it home. A little more Googling led me to find that Ahead is a Canadian company. They were active from 1969 to 1997. Taurus was their line of bass amps. So now I have a bass head. Time to build a bass cabinet. Except on closer examination, you'll notice that the knobs aren't really labeled with what you would expect from an amp. There's no gain, there's no volume. It's all tone related. I was fortunate enough to find a forum post that actually said a lot of Ahead's amp heads were not the amplifiers themselves, but were all preamps to color your sound. So this is good for me, because honestly, I don't have much use for an amplifier. It was time to figure out what this box actually did. On the back, no clue, it just says the name of the previous owner, Pat Howe, if you're out there. Let me know. What you'll see next is a video of me shaking it. And what you're hearing is the spring reverb tank inside. And so what I have here is a preamp with a spring reverb in it. Awesome. I can use a spring reverb. Had to test the output signal had a low current to it just to make sure that this absolutely wasn't an amp, because I don't want this to break my mixer. To drive a speaker, you need more electricity, and it's too much for the mixer. So you'll see me testing with the multimeter. The readings are appropriately low, and you'll see here's my first little test video, just running it into my shitty practice amp. And there you go, springy, reverby bass, the thing everybody loves. So we know this is a bass head. Let me do a demo with my bass guitar. Reverbing your bass is kind of a weird thing to do, because the more reverb you put on your low end in the mix, the more muddy it's going to sound. But anyways, let's check it out. You'll notice there I slapped the strings and bass to really overdrive the spring and get a kind of dub sound effect going. And that's the thing that's really cool about this, like spring reverb is hardware you're dealing with. to highlight the signal. It's bass guitar to preamp, and then I'm using my Zoom B1X on to do amp modeling, because the signal that comes out of this needs to be amplified. It's not, it's not strong enough. So let's launch into the next demo. A little production tip that I've used before to kind of get a hard techno sound is to reverb your kick in a very nuanced way. So what you'll hear in this techno jam is that I've got this overdriven kick, and it's running into the spring reverb. You'll hear me bring the depth of the reverb up on the kick just to show how the sound changes from like a tasteful reverb sound into just stupid springy garbage. Let's have a close-up look at this thing. Power cable off the front. The two prongs, no grounding prong, probably means we're definitely dealing with something from the 70s, maybe 80s. Two inputs, so you and your buddy can jam. In the jams you're about to see, I found just kind of having these sort of in the neutral position was best, and then I could use the send from the mixer to determine how much reverb I actually wanted. Funny thing about this, all the screws on it have a square head, and that's a Robertson head. Yeah, if we take a look at the bottom, see that's true as well. Robertson is very popular here in Canada for construction. You're doing carpentry, you're almost certainly going to use these square heads. The screws self-grip onto the drill bit. They're great, but on most consumer electronics, you'll never see them because most consumer electronics aren't manufactured in the country. So we typically have the Phillips cross head. So kind of nifty to see them here. So another thing I thought I'd do, let me run my guitar into this. Reverb will make that sound a lot more lush. It's not going to have the same kind of muddiness of bass sounds. Given that I was given a spring reverb, I needed to make some dub music with it. So here's me treading in the murky waters of a Canadian guy making Jamaican music. Here is some Dawless Dub.
And the one that get it down, wanna go me love Taurus. So wanna get on the people on the phone, them they want a position. Don't wanna type it in when you talk. Don't wanna type it in when you talk.
Editor Spenny wanted to jump in and just quickly answer the question, is it worth buying one of these? From my interaction with this, it seems to be well built, and mine has held up over the decades. So if owning a piece of vintage Canadian guitar gear is worth it to you, go for it. Thanks for checking it out. If you like this, let me know by giving me a thumbs up, hit subscribe. At the time of recording this, I have 186 subscribers, so I notice everyone, and it's always appreciated. We'll catch you in the next video.